25 years ago, an estimated 1 million Ethiopians died and up to 8 million others became destitute due to a severe famine. Ethiopia has experienced other famines, but the magnitude of the 1984 famine captured the attention of the world. Why was it so severe, and what lessons have been learned since then? There was death all around, and cries for help filled the dusty air. It was like a scene from a horror movie. Near-total crop failure in northern Ethiopia was exacerbated by other factors to create a crisis of epic proportions. David Spillman is a researcher with the International Food Policy Research Institute.
Ethiopia was part of the Eastern Bloc, or the socialist bloc of countries, and there was a lot of tussling between the United States and the Soviet Union that put Ethiopia in the middle of this, and the country suffered. There were domestic politics at play. And certainly that played a big role in the ability or the inability of people to gain access to food relief or food assistance until it was almost too late.
The efforts of international relief organizations to deliver food to millions were hampered by logistics and insecurity. The government of then-President Mengistu Haile Mariam provoked international condemnation for its inability and alleged unwillingness to deal with the famine. But Ethiopia learned some vital lessons. Alan Jury is the director of the World Food Program in Washington, D.C. He says the government in Addis Ababa has put in place a system to cope with persistent drought.
There are several things I think the Ethiopian government has done that I think show greater preparedness. One is the development of this productive safety net program, which recognizes that even in the best years, because of the access and distribution problems, there are going to be people who need food.
Jury says that Ethiopia has built an institutional system that addresses the country's chronic need for food and anticipates emergencies.
Secondly, the Ethiopian government has built up a fairly substantial national grain reserve. And we in WFP and others, including the Ethiopian government's own programs, will draw down on that grain reserve in times of significant need.
The National Grain Reserve provides a cushion until external food assistance can arrive, and a risk management system assesses the needs of individual households with the objective of equipping them for lean days.
The idea being that you provide households that are most vulnerable with access to cash or food for work, cash for work programs, so that they can make it through those months when their cash is lowest, or when production in the field is between seasons or at its lowest, or when there's hunger.
The Ethiopian government spends about $1 billion in drought and disaster preparedness every year, but the challenges remain. This year alone, more than 13 million Ethiopians were in need of food aid. The World Food Program says it is concerned that kind of need could exceed the capacity of international organizations.
As we look at climate change and increasing climate shock, we could face a level of consistent need across the belt most affected by climate change, which tends to include large parts of sub-Saharan Africa. We do need to be worried whether the international community and WFP will have sufficient resources to cope with that expanded demand.
Aid agencies say that the world must take steps urgently to prevent another potential food catastrophe in Ethiopia. 25th anniversary of the Ethiopian famine. Visit our special report online at voaafrica.com.